Welcome to Hail Varsity Radio, the voice of Husker Nation. Insight, opinion, expertise, with the biggest and best names talking Nebraska across the state. Join the show on Twitter at Hail Varsity and at Schmidt_radio. Call in at 402-466-ESPN or 1-800-825-5865. Here's Chris Schmidt.
Great to have you in. Welcome to Monday. It's Hail Varsity Radio, presented by the Nebraska Lottery. Chris Schmidt, Will Wilson, and the throwback Big 8 lid is in studio, running it today. Good to see you, Will. We are loaded up. Plenty of football to talk as we inch closer, halfway through camp. And we're a little more than 2 weeks away from Nebraska, Illinois. Numbers to get in today with Hail Varsity Radio, 466-3776, 466-3776, 800-825-5865, wherever you hear us across the great state of Nebraska. In 15 minutes, longtime coach at Nebraska, director of player personnel, and a guy who knew Bobby Bowden really, really well. How about Ron Brown? Coach Ron Brown with us in 15 minutes. We'll reflect on the life and times of Coach Bowden and how camp is going. So Ron Brown on the way. It's a Monday with Charlie. Mr. Blackshirt, Charlie McBride will join us. And then over the years, we've been pretty blessed to have a lot of fun sit-downs with a number of people. And Bobby Bowden has been a guest on the show before, as Coach Bowden passing away over the weekend. So we'll rewind. We are the king of rewind around 7:30 Saturday mornings with the weekend edition of Hail Varsity. But our sit-down with Bobby Bowden, this was from around 2015. So Coach Bowden was in town for the Remington Trophy celebration. Of course, Dave and the crew always saw an awesome time at the Rococo. And Bobby was the keynote speaker. So we had a chance to sit down for about 10, 15 minutes with Coach Bowden. I know you were listening to it, Will. You're a big college football guy, and I know Bobby Bowden, I think his last year at Florida State was 2009 or 2010, and then Jimbo took over. But Bobby Bowden was great, and I remember as a kid those Florida State games. I don't remember the early years where they came into Lincoln a lot of times and won. I'm more so the burned into my mind bowl game losses where there's the Fiesta Bowl, and it's a tie ball game, and Florida State scores with 4 seconds left to upend Nebraska. But Florida State really built their brand, their power by playing the who's who of college football. That included Nebraska, and they got some wins on the road. And then to bring everything full circle, the game that took Nebraska football from good to great from a confidence standpoint was that 94 Orange Bowl and the heartbreaker loss with the missed field goal by Bennett at the end, and the loss to Florida State 18-16. But from that loss, you know what happened. And Nebraska went on to win 3 or 4 championships in the 90s. And the game I never got to see that I always wanted to see, Florida State's last national championship was in the 1999 season. They played for it against Oklahoma in 2000 and got shut out or close to being shut out by that Oklahoma team that Stoops won with in his second year. But Nebraska, They got hosed by Texas in 99 down there in Austin. And Nebraska finished 12-1 and finished number 2 in the country behind Florida State. I would have loved to have seen Nebraska against Florida State in the Sugar Bowl for a chance at a championship. Mike Vick and Virginia Tech were undefeated. Florida State took down Virginia Tech. So long and short of it is they're a bit of kindred spirits, Florida State and Nebraska. And Florida State used Nebraska to gain street cred. And Nebraska became great by continually trying to take down and chase the teams like Miami and Florida State. So we'll hear from Bobby Bowden in about an hour or so. Ron Brown shortly. We'll dive into some thoughts on Nebraska football. Phone lines are open as well. We'll take some of your calls and get to some of your emails as well. Let's go to one of the first families in Husker football. That is Craig Artez with us on Hail Varsity. Artez, what's up, man? You on the road?
Yeah, I'm on the road, but I got my earplugs in. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. What do you know?
Well, I had so much respect for Coach Bowden because, like you said earlier, he wasn't afraid to play the big time programs because he wanted to build his program. And that 1980 squad, they actually came in and beat us. We were ranked number 3. They knocked us off 18-14. Then the following week, they went to Pittsburgh and knocked off Dan Marino and the Pittsburgh Panthers. So they had back-to-back upsets that year in 1980. They went. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think they went like 11-1 or 10-2 that year, and they played OU in the Orange Bowl that year, didn't they?
No, actually, they were 12-0 in '79 and lost 11-0 in '79 and lost to Billy Sims. In the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, so they lost to Oklahoma. Yeah, but that 80 team was nuts. I mean, they're at LSU, they're at Nebraska, they're at Ohio State, they're at Pitt and Marino. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, they went 10-1, and I think they lost Oklahoma State in the bowl game in 1980. I can't remember.
Okay,
might have been it, but I tell you what, the most respect I have out of the Bowden is because I remember after the '81 game when Roger ran for 234 yards. He complimented Rodgers that he's the best back he's ever seen in the country that year. So
that's what Bobby Bowden said about brother Roger Craig?
Yeah, after that 234-yard game, he had that 94-yard touchdown run at the time with the school record.
Man, that's awesome.
That was. But yeah, he had some great teams, and I think the best thing he ever done for the coach Osborne is Osborne asked him. I think Osborne asked him about what he should do as far as his defense, and he said we needed more speed. And that's the year we moved Ed Stewart from safety to linebacker because we needed more speed on defense, and the rest is history. 3 national titles in 4 years. So
that was awesome. We're going to talk to Coach McBride in an hour about that relationship with Florida State and the influence, right? Yeah. There's 2 programs, Artez, that when Nebraska went from their 5-2 or their 3-4 to the 4-3 and the speed. They looked at Desert Storm, Arizona, with Brewski and company, and then they looked at Florida State, right, with Derek Rogers, 2 smaller linebackers, Brewski and Brooks, Derek Brooks. So pretty cool.
I think it was after that '93 national championship game. I think Bobby came back for a banquet in Omaha for Coach Osborne. I don't know who the banquet was for, but that's when they had that conversation about getting more speed on defense. And
that's awesome.
The rest is history. I love it.
Artez,
2 more weeks, brother. I'll see you in Champaign,
That's
bro.
right, man. I can't wait to see you, and we'll get into some football
Sounds
here.
good.
Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. All right, that's Artez. Artez doing good work, man. Trucking across the country. That's Roger Craig's brother. So appreciate his listenership, and man, it's fun. And I know, Will, when we talk about football season, this is typically the time of season. Man, the expectations are high. Everyone's undefeated. There's a ton of optimism. And let me ask you this. Let's kind of drill down. It's yes or no and why. Are you do you think Nebraska can be more explosive offensively? The short answer is yes. My why is I like the talent they have. I know it's unproven, but I think that the difference for me as to why blind faith-wise I can say, okay, I can look at the receiving core, and I can look at the quarterback, I can look at the offensive line. Nebraska needs to put up 30-plus points a game in Big Ten play. Yep. Not always going to happen against certain defenses, but you got a fighting chance. It's not knife to a gunfight if you're scoring 21 or 24 or 17. You get to that 30 number, easier said than done in the Big Ten, you're in the game.
Sure.
You're absolutely in the game unless your defense is getting shredded. So I look at this and I say, look, Nebraska needs to be more explosive on offense. They have been good, but at times their big play didn't get to the end zone, and then you get red zone issues, right? So I think Nebraska, just because of the body types, and I'm going to say, look, I think guys will be much more comfortable with the amount of work they've been able to put in together. Didn't have that a year ago. That's my why. That's why. Can Nebraska's offense be more explosive? Will they be more explosive? I'm going to bet yes versus no. And if I'm wrong, I'm out I'm out a little bit of money. But from an optimism standpoint, where are you at? Because you grew up, you just graduated, you're a Nebraska guy, so you remember the Sioux years, and then each year, you're a Lincoln kid, man. The hair on the back of your neck will stand up because it's almost football season. Yeah. You still feeling that or no?
I like what you said, that you would rather bet yes than no. I'm with you there. I think if anything, we're going to be a little more explosive. 3 reasons why I think that. I think we finally got a receiver that's big and can run in Omar Manning. We have Adrian, who has a good shoulder now. He can really sling it. Also, we got that offensive line, Schmitty. That's probably the most comfortable we've seen, right, in the past 3 seasons. Those things combined, I think we could be a little more explosive, but it's all got to click, right?
It does. And when it comes to explosive passing rate, Nebraska ranked 98th last year. That's 20-plus yard gains and 114th in yards per point. So there's the marvelous algorithm equation that puts yards into yards equal points. And no has been the answer for the Nebraska offense. And they're trying to fix that. But the thing is this, I think it's all right to say Nebraska's got some dudes. Now, the big question mark is consistency. Can Nebraska football show some consistency? And I think they can with their options. They've got a lot of options, and they got a lot of big-bodied options. And I don't know if you kind of overanalyzed the video put out with the scrimmage yesterday, but you saw a lot of good things, and you saw a lot of Johnson playing defensive back. That 5-star transfer from Ohio State was locking up people.
Yeah, Schmitty, and the guys are looking, as far as bodies, they look bigger, man. And
they are. I mean,
love that.
6'2", 6'3", 6'4", a couple of tight ends. No, you love it. I mean, you needed to get Big Ten big. And Nebraska and Coach Frost and the gang have done that. So when it comes to optimism, it's really in the eye of the beholder, because nationally Nebraska's not on anyone's radar. They just want to see Nebraska, what type of progress they made, and to a man between Brock Ewart, who's a national analyst, or Joel Klatt, their take is, look, year 4, let's see something. They were excited 3+ years ago when Frost came in. Now it's year 4. Let's see what can happen offensively. But it's so important to get some relief offensively in a run game, and then have that kind of patty cake together with the pass and the run.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for it. The consistency part is the question because of the experience, and guys for the most part are going to be new in the receiver room or new to their role.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, you needed to do a makeover and get some guys to step up at wide receiver. They've gone out and got the dudes. Let's see if they can get it handled on Saturdays.
Who knows, Schmitty? Maybe we were more consistent than we think last year, although maybe if we just didn't have those penalties to break up drives, maybe it was better than we think. But I don't know. Let me what you think of this, Schmitty. As far as being comfortable, one thing that I'm comfortable about, or that makes me feel comfortable about this team, is how long we've had guys on campus. We've actually had guys on campus under this coaching staff for 3 years now, and I feel like if you were to put an uneducated uneducated kid in a job that he's never done, he'll be able to do a little bit after 3 years of just seeing things. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you need to get better, get comfortable, understand your role, know what the task is.
Right.
Here's how you go about it every day to be successful at what you do, just from the job analogy standpoint. So, no, it'll be interesting. Pretty cool list out by Adam Rittenberg, and the topic of underachievers. That is something laid out, this drought poll, and it's the who's who of college football. When we talk droughts, Tennessee, 1998, since the championship. Nebraska, 99. Miami has not won the Big East or the ACC. Miami has not won a conference championship since 2003. Michigan has not won one since 2004. A&M, 98. UCLA, 98. What's all of these programs have in common? Well, how many coaches have they been through?
Yeah, right.
Tennessee's working on 5. Nebraska's working on 4. The U's been through A ton of coaches. Michigan. Think about Michigan since Nebraska's even joined the Big Ten. I mean, you have Harbaugh, you have Brady Hoke.
Those are the only two I remember.
You had Rich Rod. I mean, yeah.
I'm young, obviously.
No, but Michigan's been through a ton of coaches since Schembechler.
Interesting.
A&M's kind of cycled through.
Yeah.
They've been through 3.
Right.
UCLA's been kind of a tire fire. We'll see if Chip Kelly kind of hones it down because UCLA's public university.
It's
still
kind of
hard
weird.
as hell to get in.
I've totally forgot Chip Kelly was at UCLA.
But Nebraska, and Rittenberg's right. Nebraska, for what they are when it comes to location and talent in the vicinity, Nebraska's always been the ultimate overachiever. But the last 8 years, and thanks to 3 coaches, 49 and 47. Nebraska's 2 games over 500 in the last 8 years. And that is no good. But the king of all underachievers, start barking with me. How has Georgia won 1 national championship in 41 years? It was Herschel Walker. Last time the Georgia Bulldogs won a championship, 1980.
Wow.
Now they played for 1 in 17. They've had a couple of top 5 finishes. They were the king of top 5, 10 and 2. But man, they get heat for not living up to their hype. We'll check in with Ron Brown. His thoughts on Bobby Bowden, Nebraska football. Coach Brown next on Hail Varsity.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time at Hail Varsity Radio on a Monday. We're presented by the Nebraska Lottery. Our rewind interview 1 hour from now with the great coach Bobby Bowden. So our sit down with him a few years back. We welcome in tremendous coach for Nebraska, director of player development now. We say hi to Coach Ron Brown. Coach, it's been a little while. How you doing?
Good, Schmidt. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. The humidity treating you okay?
Oh, yeah, man. I can handle that.
No, I know you can. Are you throwing balls right now? I mean, are you just getting the old left arm loosened up?
Yeah, you always got to keep that thing going. But, yeah, it's, the weather for camp has been overall good. I mean, it's good for us. The humidity is good. We've had a couple of cooler days as well.
Well, Coach Brown, I want to get your thoughts and some memories on Coach Bobby Bowden as Bobby passed over the weekend, but I know a man you were really close with.
Yeah, I love Coach Bowden, and great man of faith in the Lord, and I know where he lives today because of his faith in Christ, and that was paramount in his life. I almost went to work for him back in 1994, right after the 93 national championship game. He offered me an opportunity to come and coach the wide receivers there, but I was coaching wide receivers and tight ends here with Coach Osborne. I thought about it, and I'm glad I stayed. I love Coach Osborne more than anything, but I have great respect for Bobby and his family. I've gotten to know, I didn't know them all real well, but I've met just about all of the Bowdens. I was with Tommy a few months ago, one of his sons, former head coach at Clemson. So great family, and we'll miss Bobby. What a great coach! What a great turnaround at Florida State. What a kind man, a lover of people, and not only a great coach, but a great man.
Ron Brown's with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Tell us a little bit from your experience that Florida State-Nebraska dynamic from a matchup / coaching standpoint. Nebraska, pretty well documented how Coach Bowden built his program anywhere, anytime, and Nebraska was on the schedule, and he had success in the early 80s against Nebraska. A lot of Florida State-Nebraska matchups, either in the Orange Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl. And then I kind of point back to that 94 Orange Bowl where Nebraska was so close at the buzzer to claim a national championship. But was Florida State one of those programs that I guess you guys, I don't want to say we're chasing, but that was the next step for the program, and obviously after that things were incredible with the championship numbers you won.
Smitty, it was always a tough out for us to play Florida State or Miami in the Orange Bowl, after winning the Big Eight back in the 90s, being a top 5 team in the country, maybe it was 1 loss, maybe it was 0 losses going into that game. And it was a tough out because those programs were extremely talented, as you know. They were gifted players, well coached. There was some memorable games. The 93 national championship game, which was the 94 Orange Bowl game, was a classic. I mean, it came down to a last-second field goal try that we missed, obviously. But what a game! And even prior to that, there was some excellent games. I remember my first bowl game for Nebraska ever was right after the 1987 season, and we played Florida State in the Fiesta Bowl, and of course they had a gentleman named Deion Sanders, who was an outstanding corner for Florida State, and of course over the years you just got to respect not only how they recruited and had great players, but the way they were coached. They were tough. They knew what they were doing. They had great schemes. And what I loved, I think, the most about Florida State, Nebraska, was that we never played secrets with one another. In the off season, we would hook up. I mean, I remember Florida State coming to Nebraska and sitting down with our defensive coaches and talking through things. Here we are playing them in the Orange Bowl every other year, and we were learning from them. They were learning from us. So we never held stuff back. Today it's almost like CIA, for crying out loud. I mean, everybody's trying to operate out of secrecy and seclusion and so forth. And to a degree, I get that. But I think the main thing was that there was great respect between Coach Osborne, Coach Bowden, 2 great men who were friends, who shared a lot of the same values. They were going to recruit the right way. They were going to treat players with tender care and love, and yet firm discipline. There were a lot of similarities in both programs. A lot of the men that Bobby hired over the years, we got to know as friends, and there were a lot of the similar type people. You had veteran coaching staffs. They didn't change coaches very much. So there were a lot of similarities, and it became a great postseason rivalry. Even during the season, from time to time, Florida State would play Nebraska, and that was always a classic game early in the year as well.
Ron Brown's with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, thanks for sharing your thoughts and your memories on Bobby Bowden and that Nebraska-Florida State dynamic. Before I ask you about some of 2021, was that a really tough call for you? I want to go back. Tough call for you to not have the opportunity. I mean, to go to a Florida State, but you'd been in Lincoln for quite a while too. So I'm sure it was a great opportunity, but this place felt good for you.
Schmitty, it just kind of reminds me of how we tend to define success. I was still a younger coach at the time, and Bobby loved our receivers. He loved, we had the itty-bitty committee. So we had guys like Abdul Muhammad, Corey Dixon, Reggie Ball, Riley Washington, and some of these guys. And he loved the fact that our receivers were fast and quick, and they were tenacious. They would block. And so I think he respected me. We were a lot of in the same circles spiritually. But people were encouraging me then to say, look, you've been in an option offense as a receivers coach for a while. You need to get into a passing offense. These were guys who were in the profession for a long period of time. If you want to climb the ladder or whatever that means, you better learn some, other systems and so forth. So, I was still trying to figure things out. But as much as I respected him and saw that potentially as an advantageous for me in my career, it was more important to me to be around the right people versus the right place. And I always loved Coach Osborne and what he was doing here, and I love the people in Nebraska. To me, it was more than just a career move. My wife could have gone either way with it. She was very gracious in the process, but I just felt like the overall piece with ministry and football and the people of Nebraska and Coach Osborne, that outweighed, as much of a career advantage that Florida State might have given me. So anyhow, that's just, there's no place like Nebraska. Maybe I should have said it that quickly.
No, that's fine. I like the backstory. Ron Brown's with us on Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, you don't have to divulge too much, obviously, but are things looking good? Is everyone pretty comfortable here halfway through camp?
I love football. I love Coach Frost. I love what we're doing here. And, like I said, there is no place like Nebraska. I mean, this is a great place to be. Love our players. We're growing. And the spirit, the enthusiasm, the intensity level, loving it. Love every bit of it.
Does it feel like 2 weeks away for the season?
You know what, man? It's come on us fast. I'm glad, though. I'm glad that we're the first game in college football. I'm glad that we get a chance to, lead off the college football season here in 2021 after a real difficult year in the past. I think it's just classic that we get the chance and the privilege. That's a God-given privilege, as far as I'm concerned, to kick off America in college football this year in Illinois. So, yeah, looking forward to it, and I'm glad we're just 2 weeks away and we're getting ready.
Last thought, I've always wanted to ask you: did you enjoy coaching the wideouts more or coaching the running backs?
I've had a lot of people ask me that over the years. But
I never have, because I just like, I'm curious though. I mean, you had a lot of good dudes to work with.
I've coached a lot of positions, Schmidt. When I was at Brown University as a young coach, when I first started coaching, I was coaching the defensive backs. When I came to Nebraska, I was coaching the wide receivers, tight ends, and the wing backs. And then I was coaching at some point there with Coach Pelini, the fullbacks and the tailbacks. So I've had a lot of, almost every skill position, on the football field I've coached, and I've loved them all. And I'm one of those guys that really enjoys, what I'm doing at that time. I'm very content and excited about that. But at the end of the day, I look back at all of it and I go, man, I'm so glad that I got a chance to coach all of those positions, because it's helped me to understand the game better. It's helped me to fit and take a look at the fits of all these things and see that there's so many similarities. Even among the differences, there's so many similarities and skill sets that can be passed on from one position to the next. And so I've always enjoyed that part of the game. So I can say honestly that I love them all, and I can see the advantage of being multi-faceted in that way in my coaching career. I thank the Lord for it.
Coach Brown's with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, about 30 seconds. Just real quick, going from DB to receiver coach, did that help that transition back early in your career at Nebraska, going from the defense to the offense?
It really did. Some of those early DBs at Nebraska when I first got here, guys like Lorenzo Hicks, Brian Washington, some of those guys would say to me, Coach Brown, why don't you come over and teach us a few things that you learned as a defensive back and a defensive back coach. That'll help us. Our receivers, even though we had veteran receivers at the time, Rod Smith, Tom Barrett, Darius, Dana Brinson, Richard Bell, some of those guys, they were like, well, look, Coach, guess what? We'll help acclimate you to our new offense here, because it's new for you to be on this side of the ball. But tell us some of the secrets of defensive backs. And so it was a great, really mix early on for me to be able to share other side of the ball types of things. And I always was able to teach coverages and tendencies to DBs over the years in our perimeter blocking and receiving for all those years as a receivers coach, because of my background and experience as a defensive back coach.
Coach, this was great to chat. We'll do this again soon. Thanks for a few minutes today.
You bet, Schmidt. Thanks for having me on, man. God bless you, buddy.
Take care. Ron Brown with us. Good to hear from him. His thoughts on Bobby Bowden and some Nebraska football. Hail Varsity continues.
Chime in 402-466-ESPN or email the show, Chris@HailVarsity.com.
Just try me.
Back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Good stuff from Ron Brown. That's posted shortly. The ESPN Lincoln On Demand section or the ESPN Lincoln Twitter. And good for Coach Brown. Pretty excited about the team. The season's around the corner. And his thoughts in remembrance of Bobby Bowden. We'll talk with Charlie McBride here. Some thoughts on the Husker Black Shirts as we gear up for Nebraska, Illinois here in 20 minutes. And that partnership, it almost feels and sounds like, between Nebraska and Florida State because of the staffs getting along so well. That's so odd where, it feels odd, but it's really a testament to absolutely being comfortable and confident in how good your program is to be able, all right, Florida State, let's get caught up between that Florida State defense and then what Nebraska's doing. And I didn't, that's always going to be the Trev Alberts game. Trev going off. You've got Sue's performance against Texas. You've got Trev Alberts doing work against Charlie Ward and Florida State. Those are really two iconic moments individually for a Nebraska defensive player, right? Levante David had 2,000 tackles and do his thing, and he was great against Penn State. That's also kind of in my mind's eye there. But no, good stuff from Ron Brown, Charlie McBride, and then our interview coming up with Bobby Bowden from back in 2015. You
mentioned Nebraska and Florida State, doing that, getting together and talking. It sounds like that's something Bowden was just always about, going back to when he was with West Virginia and the Marshall plane crash, letting them come in and look at stuff, the veer offense. A special guy, man.
He was, and you just have, and we'll talk to Coach McBride about this, but there's a few coaches and staffs that really get along together. And I think it's as simple as this. I think Bobby Bowden remembered a guy like Coach Osborne giving him a chance, taking a risk. It would have been a hell of a lot easier for Nebraska not to play Florida State because they went 2-6 against him.
Yeah.
It's all good. Good luck, Bobby. Don't need to come up here and upset me to start the season in 1980.
Right.
Okay. But no, it was going to make Nebraska better. And it obviously made Florida State, and it gave them some street cred, which was really cool. Prior to that Hail Mary game against BYU, the last opener Nebraska lost was against Florida State in like 85, I think. 85 or 80. It might have been 80. It was 85.
Wow.
So that's who Nebraska was playing, and then Nebraska would hook up with them in those Fiesta or Orange Bowl games. And it went from really close to getting stomped by him to coming back and almost taking him down. 466-377-6800, 825-5865, numbers to get in. Let's talk quarterbacks here. And Athlon has their list of Big Ten quarterbacks in the ranking. And you have two Nebraska quarterbacks in the top 14, one former and one current. And you go down the list here, and Noah Vedral comes in as the last ranked quarterback in the Big Ten. When it comes to starting quarterbacks, you have Rutgers posting about 26 points a contest last year. That was a step forward, and Vedral did a really nice job of contributing to that. They almost took down Michigan last year, that double overtime game. Brandon Peters comes in at 13. You can say a lot about Illinois, but Peters did have a road win in Lincoln last year, former five-star transfer from Michigan. See, this is the thing. When we talk about games that Nebraska needs to get in 2021, as back and forth as Nebraska Northwestern are, in how tight those games are, Nebraska, air quote, should have an advantage at quarterback with Adrian versus Ryan Holinsky. I know he's a transfer from South Carolina. You have Petrus that there's not a lot of belief in. Like, I will be really, really good if he's super good, but he's more of a caretaker, all right? And he rebounded after an 0-2 start. So Petrus is good. He's big. He's a typical Iowa quarterback. Michigan State's quarterback's in there. You've got a guy that could be really good, but we've heard this song and dance before with Michigan's quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
They're all still waiting for their version of Andrew Luck.
Sure.
Okay. Coming in at 6, just in front of Sean Clifford at Penn State, Adrian Martinez. Do you think Adrian's the 6th best quarterback in the Big Ten? And let me ask you, for Nebraska to go where they want to, because Adrian's right behind little Tua at Maryland. In at 4 is Graham Mertz. In at 3 is Tanner Captain Morgan for Minnesota. Stroud is not taking a snap, but you've got this pedigree of great quarterbacks at Ohio State. And I agree with the top quarterback in the Big Ten's Michael Penix. He's phenomenal. He's dynamic. He is so good as a dual threat. Where do you think Adrian could end up? That's where I want to go with this.
Yeah,
He's preseason 6. I think if he finishes preseason top 3, you've got 8 or 9 wins.
Yeah, I like that. I got to be honest, I'm not big on Tanner Morgan. I know they love him up there. And he showed some good stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if Martinez maybe gets above him after the season, Schmidt.
Well, you have a history of kind of just wow wide receivers at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right? And you have this kind of wait-and-see mode going for Nebraska's receiver group that we all think they're going to be really talented and be able to step right in and again, be comfortable and consistent. That all said, Minnesota's just kind of reloaded that position. That's kind of a wheelhouse for Fleck. We'll see. No, I think for Nebraska's offense to go where they want to go, you need Adrian to be, a first, second, or third team All Big Ten quarterback. And Coach Frost told us during media days he's got the ability, the talent level to be player of the year in the conference. He's got the ability to put Saturdays on film against opposing defenses that are Penix-like, right? When you think of Penix, you think of him running, extending plays, deep shot downfield with one of those Indiana wideouts. I think of a bunch of shootouts that Penix has been in.
Yes.
Be it with Penn State or Ohio State or Indiana scoring 40 against somebody. And he is so good. And from a completion percentage standpoint, Penix has always had big plays, but the accuracy's not been as good as some other quarterbacks in the league. I think Adrian's accuracy is pretty high level. It's pretty top shelf. Mm-hmm. Can you factor in some more of the big plays with that? And the injury card, right?
Exactly.
We look at all the quarterbacks. Who hasn't missed time at quarterback in the Big Ten? Petrus?
Yeah.
Petrus, whatever you say. I said Tetris, my fault.
There's a few. Graham, didn't Mertz have something? He
was dinged.
Yeah.
He was dinged. It's always been musical quarterbacks at Michigan.
Right.
Little Tua played high-level ball, but wasn't consistent. Vedral missed time. You've not had a Penix blew his knee again.
Right.
And really it's been Morgan. Morgan's been it.
Yeah.
Morgan's been like the one guy that's been able to make it through a season. And Minnesota, went 3-5 last year, but again, 30 people down, 1 in Lincoln. So we'll wind down this first hour. On the way, Charlie McBride and our rewind with the legendary coach Bobby Bowden. Hail Varsity were presented by the Nebraska Lottery.
And we're back
Fellas, think we could listen to the radio listen?
on Hail Varsity Radio, presented by the Nebraska Lottery.
Yes! That's awesome!
Less than an hour, we will have win totals and some 2021 projections in the NFL. Over the weekend, it was a who's who with the class of 21 for the NFL Hall of Fame. You had the Sheriff, Peyton Manning, of course, with Tom Brady in attendance. Tom needed a little more product in his hair, a little frizzy. I'm going to go that way, judgmental-wise. Jimmy Johnson, whose hair still does not move due to product, got introduced by his guy, Troy Aikman. That's phenomenal. Of course, Covert, the old Bears offensive lineman, that was cool. And Charles Woodson, man. Charles Woodson was a pure pleasure to watch. That was high level class of Hall of Famers. This is a little bit from Peyton Manning with his Hall of Fame speech.
Now, when we leave this stage tonight, it is no longer about us. It is about cultivating the game that has given so much to us. It's about nurturing football to live and thrive another day, another year, decade, and another generation. It's about guaranteeing that kids everywhere can learn, bond, grow, and have fun with every flag pulled, every tackle made, every pass thrown, every run, block, sack, and touchdown scored. The audience here tonight is made up of die-hard fans who feel football deep in your bones. Now, we may have ignited the fire, but you have fanned the flames. Inevitably, those flames will be whipped by the winds of change, but they don't need to smolder. The future of this game is ours to shape. We just need to take tomorrow on our shoulders as readily as we donned our pads before each game. Let this moment become a cherished memory. And then remember, a legacy is only worthwhile when there is a future to fuel. God bless you, and God bless football.
God bless football, says Peyton Manning. You've got tears, laughs, memories, and thank yous for Peyton. And I'll tell you this, Edgerrin James getting his gold jacket as well. Edge, one of my favorite guys. Got Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, and, of course, Coach Mr. Tony. Part of that Colts run there in the 90s and into the 2000s, which was really cool. Peyton Manning guy or not? Was he your quarterback growing up?
No, he wasn't. Brett Favre was.
The Favre.
That's right. But I will always remember him surprisingly going to Denver and winning that Super Bowl in his first year. That was very impressive.
Yeah, that was cool. And Denver's still been looking for a quarterback since. We'll see.
Hey, Deshaun is apparently on the market, Schmitty.
No, I know. I mean, after 5 days off, you have Deshaun that is back at practice now.
That's right.
You got to feel for anyone that goes to the Texans.
Oh, man.
Because it's been a mass exodus.
Yeah.
Right? Our old buddy Brent Qualley now is off to Tennessee. He had spent a couple of years. Now, Malik's down in Houston.
Okay.
Malik Collins is down there. So we'll get more of your calls. We'll have some thoughts with Charlie McBride. And then that rewind segment, our sit-down from a few years back, the Nebraska-Florida State Mystique, the coach that just passed away, legend, and he was fun to be with that afternoon. Bobby Bowden, our interview with Bobby Bowden from a couple years back. On the way, it's Hail Varsity Hour 2. We're presented by the Nebraska Lottery.
_ radio. Call in at 402-466-ESPN or 1-800-825-5865. Here's Chris Schmidt.
Back with you at Hour 2. It's Hail Varsity Radio, presented by the Nebraska Lottery. Chris Schmidt, Will Wilson in today. Follow us on Twitter at Schmidt_radio, Chris Schmidt. And give Will a follow on Twitter at Willie on the Radio. Excited to spend some time here with Mr. Blackshirt. It's another Monday with Charlie McBride. Coach McBride with us. Coach, how's the weather? How's your Monday treating you?
Good. It's good. It's just a little overcast, but that's good. You don't get sunburn that way.
Well, we've got a heat index of 108 right now with a heat advisory. So welcome to August, my friend.
That's right. We're sitting in the air conditioning right now. We spent some time outside. That was enough. So
I bet. So how are you feeling here as we get closer to kickoff with Nebraska as far as, what this season can be? How's the optimism level?
Well, it's good. I mean, I don't get to see them practice, so that's the hard part, and so you don't know exactly, what to expect, because a lot of times I can tell, how the players are, responding in practice and things like that. If you get times when you're playing practicing hard, you usually find the same thing in the game. So we'll see how that goes, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because at Illinois, with a new coach and you don't know what they do, that's really tough deal on the defense, because you don't have a clue really as to what they're doing. Maybe you can look at some stuff that they've done in the past at Arkansas and maybe Wisconsin a little bit, but it's hard to really, play a team that you have a new coach and then you really don't know exactly, where you're headed. Mm-hmm. So that's tough.
Charlie McBride's with us, Hail Varsity Radio, Mondays with Charlie. Coach, a couple of guys I want to get your gauge on, your thought. What type of year can a guy like Ben Stille have? How big is he for this defense?
Well, I think, I know he's got a ton of ability, and I think it's a matter of consistency is probably one of the bigger things, with him. As he started out, as early in his career, he was really rushing the passer and doing some things that were pretty outstanding, I thought, for a young guy. Mm-hmm. And but I think the thing is he's a lot stronger probably now and a little more confident in what he's doing. That's the biggest thing. When you get into this league, and his leadership will just show. I mean, he doesn't have to be a big talker or any of that to be a good leader. And I think that, he's kind of leaning in that category, trying to help, as much as he can, without being, overly, just going overboard about it. Because I think the players all respect him for what he's done in the past.
Another guy I want to get your take on is Ty Robinson. You've got the old guard in Stille and a guy that really played well as a younger player in Ty Robinson. I know you were familiar with him out of Arizona.
Right. Well, in reality, you're looking at a real pro player, the guy that can eventually, do it. It's gonna mean a lot of off-season stuff and work and things like that, and they having a good year, and I think he'll get better as time goes on. But I think he's got the temperament, and he's got the savvy to be an NFL player, and I think he can make a difference on the defensive line. I know that sometimes when you're younger you don't have the full confidence that he will have as the season gets going.
Confidence is so important. It's important for this team to get out of Illinois with a win, right? It's important to get off on the right foot. I think defensively, and you tell me what you remember or saw, I think defensively they got quite a bit confident as the year went on, and I just specifically say that because of how much better they got on getting off the field, Coach, on third downs. That's
right, exactly, and that's going to be the key. And 3 and out is a big thing, and it's it's something that you get put inside of you, and field position's another thing. If you can get some turnovers and do some things where you end up giving the offense good field position, boy, that makes a ton of difference. And then I think, again, the other thing, too, is that the offense, it's important that once you get it, that they control the football and they can continue to move it. But those things, the defense is responsible for the offense, and I've always looked at it that way. People say, well, you win on defense, and you do. If they don't score, you win, and that's as simple as that. It's and so the thing is you want to try to hold the points down and things like that. In games, and you want to. I remember one year we had a really good defense. We were only in the goal line defense 9 times.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea a little bit about, and I never knew that till the end of the year. I don't keep up with all that garbage, but it's important that, that you get the field position for these guys. But, turnovers and mistakes and things like that, they're a big, big thing. I mean, if you can make people make mistakes and do things and force holding calls, I mean, you get good pass rushers, they're going to grab a hold of you. They're going to get some holding calls on them, and that's where, you start to you get your 3 and out and things like that.
Pressure is going to be so key getting after the quarterback. I want to flip it around before we talk about Coach Bowden in Florida State. Offensively with Nebraska, what are you excited about on the other side of the ball? And I ask that because of your experience, obviously, as offensive line coach for a lot of years prior to going to defense. But what do you think the offense in Adrian can be this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the ball control. You can say all you want about having a wide-open offense and all that kind of stuff, and I mean, Florida had what they thought was a wide open, run and gun and all that kind of stuff. And, when you get right down to it, you've got to stop the run. That's the one thing. And that's what the offense has to do is run the football and make people stop it, make them stop it, force them to it, because your whole passing game's going to open up on that. I mean, that's where you get the things done. And I think that, just a little bit I know that quarterback position is a tough duty. And, if you count on your quarterback to run with the football all the time, it's just a matter of time. I mean, you get them banged up and stuff like that. But from what I saw last year, and I haven't seen early this year, but I think your backup quarterback, the young kid Heinrich, got a good chance to be the backup, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But I think that he's going to be qualified.
Okay, so there's some talent in the wings waiting behind Adrian with Harburg.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be the thing that I think is important. You have to have depth at those positions, and I know the big running back that they have. I mean, nobody's talked about him, and nobody said a whole lot about him. But when you get in short yardage stuff and you need some yards, you need a stud in there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you need to have a guy that can get 2 yards for you and. Mm-hmm. Really pound it in there, and I think that that's something that's can keep the ball moving. Well, and that's what I think. Looking at that, I've always been kind of in favor of being a team that can run the ball just because of where the situation is with weather and things like that in Nebraska.
Charlie McBride's with us Mondays with Charlie, Hail Varsity Radio. 2 weeks till the season gets kicked off against Illinois. Coach, I want to get your thoughts on Bobby Bowden and that bond you guys had with Florida State, specifically when it came to switching your defense up.
Well, I'll tell you, I had a really great experience with Florida State. In fact, I spent probably as much time talking football with those guys as I did with anybody in college. They had me down there 3 or 4 times. I spoke at some of their clinics. I spent time with their defensive staff quite a bit. And, Coach Bowden is the salt of the earth. Now, I mean, I don't know another man that cares about, his coaches and his players than he did. And, and he was always thoughtful of the other people, and I mean, I have letters from him, when they beat us with a field goal, and I got a note, and the first thing he says, you beat us in every category, but it was just our year. Because the year before, if you remember, they missed a field goal, which cost them everything. And, but he was nothing. I mean, he's a gentleman through and through. And he's what coaching is all about. He's straightforward. He's honest with his players, and they have fun playing for him.
Coach, I want to get your thoughts on that 94 Orange Bowl, specifically just how great your defense played. And I remember just how well Trev played that game against Charlie Ward, but your entire defense, I mean, you held an offense that was supposed to be scoring 50 on everybody. They barely, well, depending on who you ask, they barely broke double digits.
Anytime you name Charlie Ward, you make me nervous.
Well, not meaning to do that to you.
Well, I think Trev might have had a couple of 3 sacks in that game.
He went off. He was great.
Yeah, and playing against them is not one of your most exciting things when you know what you're going into, because they always had speed. They always were really well coached. I mean, they had some really, really good football coaches down there that fundamentally that was their name of the game with them. They felt like if they were fundamentally sound and strong, they didn't care what defense they ran a lot of times or what it was. They just played well, and you were in for trouble. And but playing against them is how you find out how good you are. And I remember one time, Christian Peters saying, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I think that was so important, when you play teams like that. I also remember Coach Osborne saying, before a game that we didn't have to win this game, but what we had to do was play every play as hard as we could, and the score would take care of itself. Mm-hmm. And if you did lose, then you got beat by a better team. If you played as hard as you could, then so on and so forth. So then you didn't have anything to be ashamed of. And that's kind of the way it was when you played Florida State. You had or Miami or whoever you wanted to. 94 was, our offense put those guys to sleep. Mm-hmm. And they just physically kept the ball and kept their defense on the field until they folded. And so that's one of the reasons why I think it's important that offensively your consistency, you just keep pounding people and put with the passing game the way it's improved now, you've got a lot of different weapons.
Charlie McBride's with us Mondays with Charlie, remembering Coach Bowden, that Florida State experience against Nebraska. And Coach, I can't wait for a week from today. We'll get closer to kickoff, but before you know it, we'll be up in Champaign.
That's right, and they, the one thing is they've really made a lot of improvements as far as their physical plant there, and they've really worked hard at improving their thing. And with a new coach and everything, maybe they have some new enthusiasm, so they may be the dangerous team in the league.
They could be, and Bielema has won there, so he's won in the league before, but it'll be a great chance for Nebraska to springboard. Coach, you have a good week. You stay cool, and we'll talk next Monday.
Okay. I've tried to stay cool. I don't know about the humidity. It's going to bust our chops here.
Coach, appreciate you much. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Charlie McBride with us, Mondays with Charlie. Good stuff. We will be back and a rewind on a Monday with Bobby Bowden coming up.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time. Hail Varsity, presented by the Nebraska Lottery. Chris Schmidt, Will Wilson. Here's our rewind, our interview with Bobby Bowden. Was back in Lincoln around 2015, and a great chance to sit down with him as we talk Nebraska, Florida State. Enjoy Coach Bowden. God rest him. Coach Bowden, it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you, sir?
Fine. It's good to talk to you.
Well, Coach, I want to first and foremost start off with your association with the Remington Trophy, and you're coming back to Nebraska, and Nebraska fans remember so many classic Florida State-Nebraska battles.
Yeah, and I have many great memories of Remington, too, of how he deserves this trophy in his name, because as I look back through the years that I coached, which was 57, I felt like he's one of the best centers I saw.
You kind of built up your program by going on the road, and anyone, anywhere was kind of your mentality, and you won a lot of ball games, Coach. What made you have the guts, I guess, to go on the road like you did? You played at Nebraska so many years, even through the mid-'80s.
I wish I could claim I had the confidence to sign that schedule. But here's what happened. When I came to Florida State in 76, they had already been scheduled for the next 10 years.
So you walked into it.
I walked into it, and I always said when it reaches 1980 or 81, because I had to play Nebraska, Pitt, Ohio State, Notre Dame, LSU, back-to-back away. And I said, my goodness, I got to be gone before we get to that, because I'll never get through it. You know what? But it ended up that when we beat Nebraska in 1980 in a big upset, it kind of put Florida State on the map.
Coach, that following week, you took out a thank you page in one of the papers. Is that correct?
Yeah, I sure did, because I had never been treated that good. I started to ask the Nebraska fans, "Are y'all sure y'all know that y'all lost?" They were so complimentary to us, you know, and I'll never forget that, because, gosh, there's so many stadiums you play in. When you walk off the field and go through the tunnel with their fans hanging over the top, or go on or off, you get abused.
Bobby Bowden, Hall of Fame coach with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, what do you think of college football today? You have a new 4-team playoff that's implemented. Florida State's vying for another championship, and a program that you built and left in such great standing. You have the SEC that's so tough to get through. You're familiar with what Saban and Alabama are doing. And then there's the Big Ten. Kind of ballpark college football, if you could, with your view on it right now.
Well, you know, I've been asked that question quite a few times. My opinion on college football today. In my opinion, on the field, it's the best I've ever seen it. It keeps getting better and better and better. I mean, the scores keep going up, and the stars are exposed, and the records are being broken. And from that aspect, it's as good as I've seen it. Now, off the field, we've got another problem, and that is these young men that disobey and don't abide by the rules that we have for our football teams and the NCAA and even morality.
What was your approach? Because you were a father to so many guys over so many years. You said 57 years as coach. I mean, how did you try and straighten some folks out? How did you keep kids from getting into trouble?
I think Tom Osborne and I were very much on the same page of the way we handled it. You know, my thinking was always, when a boy broke a rule, try to save him if you can, because I felt like if I didn't save him, he's going to be out on the streets again, and that's where it's not a good place to be, you know. So if I could solve the problem by not kicking him off the team, but there are other ways to discipline the kids. You know, you can take his meal tickets away from him, or you can take his housing away from him, or you can run him up and down the steps every morning starting at 5 o'clock. There are a lot of ways to discipline a kid, and I tried to use those methods rather than just the fans want you to kick them off. They like hangings. They'll all show up at the hanging. But a coach recruits these boys, and he tries to treat them like he would his own son. And if these fans were the father or the mother, they'd be the same way.
Coach, speaking of recruiting, why do you think you were such a successful recruiter? I know you had a great staff, but you were the closer, and the talent you had down there at Tallahassee was incredible.
Yeah, and we didn't come to our greatest success until I became the head coach at Florida State. And that answers the question. Why Florida State? Because in the state of Florida, you got more football players than you can shake a stick at. There'll be at least 150 boys come out of our state every year on 1A, just for 1A scholarships. And there'll be another 150 coming out at lesser schools. So there's plenty of great players down in Florida. And if we can get our share, we're going to be good as anybody. You ain't going to get them all. It's 150 boys to sign. And you can't sign but 20, and Florida can't sign but 20, and Miami can't sign but 20. Well, there's 60, 70 more boys that's going somewhere, But anyway, I think being in the state of Florida, I came in at the right time.
Coach, what was your message? How did you differentiate? I mean, Nebraska was powerful, Oklahoma was powerful, Bama had their ups and downs and then won a title in the 90s, and then there was always Florida, Miami, Florida State, that triangle. How did you differentiate from Miami and Florida when you were pitching?
Well, we, like I say, we just got it. When we recruited, we got to get our share.
Gotcha.
And we did that. Yeah, but Miami got their share, too, and Florida got their share, and other out-of-state schools would get some, but they wouldn't get their share. Not out of Florida. They had to get them out of their own state. And as long as, like I say, as long as we got our share, we can play with anybody. And so the only games we lost back in those days, except exceptions, was to Florida or Miami. We had, 10 national championships came out of those three schools in about 30 years. That means every third year, one of the Florida schools is going to win a national championship. That's the way it was back then. And then all of our programs went down. Florida went down. Miami went down. We went down. And now Florida State's climbed back on top. And Florida and Miami are just a step behind trying to get there.
Let's touch on kind of climbing up top. You mentioned and you just touched on the 10 titles between the three Florida schools. And Nebraska rose to power and got confidence in that 94 Orange Bowl against Florida State. What do you remember about that game, Coach, and then the run that Coach Osborne went on?
Well, that's a heck of a good point you mentioned. Tom Osborne's one of my favorite people. When Tom and I played for the national championship in 1993, I think it was 94,
right,
but it was after the 93 season. Neither one of us had won a national championship. We'd come in second, we'd come in third, we'd come in fourth, and he had done very much the same thing, but we didn't win. So everybody, they can't win a national championship, they can't win a big one. Everybody hears that. And so we won. Well, gosh, that got me off the hook, but there's Tom still on the hook, And by the way, they outplayed us that day. Nebraska outplayed us that day. We were just very fortunate to win. Well, they missed a field goal. It's like we always did against Miami. But but the amazing thing was Tom wins the national championship the next 3 years, I think. Was it 3 in a row or 3 out of 4?
They could have played for 4 in a row. They won 2 in a row and then won a third his final year.
Yeah, that's right. And like I say, they deserve the win against us, but we won. But that was amazing, and I was so glad for him.
It was an incredible moment. How did you deal with criticism? Because you set a bar and a standard so high, you built it, and then you hit a level. I think you went 14 or 15 years finishing in the top 5. I mean, it was incredible. How did you deal with criticism, Coach?
Well, you're going to get it, and I think, I had 3 of my sons go into college coaching, and the thing I told him, I said, now look, you're going to get criticized. You're not going to win all your games, and you're going to get criticized, because you're in the public eye. And if you can't handle that, you better go find another profession. Well, anyway, me raising them coming up in my family and seeing how people got on me when we lost, and see how people hung me an effigy and tried to run me off. They've been through all that, so they knew what to expect. They went into coaching. That's the nature of the job, and if you can't stand it, get out. And that part hadn't changed.
Bobby Bowden with us, Hail Varsity Radio, legendary coach, Hall of Famer, national champion, Remington Trophy, keynote speaker coming up in January 17th, Rococo Theater. Coach, it was a crazy weekend in Nebraska. Coach Bo Pelini released from his duties. What's your reaction to that?
Well, not being there, I'm always on the coach's side. I'm always on the coach's side because I went through that. But gee whiz, was it 9 wins? Did he win 9 games every year at least?
He did, 9 or 10.
God, that's one thing I found out at Florida State. When we won our first national championship, they expect you to win it every year, and probably the same thing on Tom. You know what? But to win 9 ball games every year and then get fired, boy, does that mean the next guy that comes in, if he only wins 9, do we fire him too, or do we fire the AD? That's a tough question to answer.
How hard a sell is Nebraska, not only from the 9 and 10 wins dismissal side, but also from a recruiting standpoint now? You've got the brand, you have the history, but in your mind, if there's a coach that could be a fit, how hard is it for him to pull the trigger on a Nebraska job?
Well, you're right. You're exactly. To me, what Nebraska, they've got to find the right guy, whoever that is. It would be ideal if he was a Nebraskan. It'd be ideal if he played at Nebraska. It'd be ideal if he's had success at a major college. Or success, and but I think it's very important they get the right guy because football has changed. The things I was telling you about coaching in Florida, 150 boys signed every year to 1A. How many is going to sign out of Nebraska? And so I just hope they get the right guy and he can get that thing. Hey, it's hard for me to say turned around when they win a 9 game. I got let out because I didn't win but 7. But anyway, good luck to them.
Have you enjoyed retirement?
Yes, I have. People ask me, do you miss coaching? I said, no, not one bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was 80 years old when I got through coaching and probably should have got out earlier. But no, I haven't missed it because being retired, you're free, and I still speak all the time. I was up in Nebraska probably a month and a half ago to attend a high school football game and make a little talk, and I'll be up there again in January. So I get to do that, and I do love that and enjoy that. I'm just thankful the good Lord's kept my health good where I could do it.
Coach, pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for a few minutes.
Hey, good to talk to you. Good luck to all you guys.
Geico presents Motorcycle Word of the Day. Today's word is tank slapper. Is a tank slapper used to describe a handlebar wobble? Or is it a motorcycle joke that is so funny you just have to slap the gas tank with your hand as you laugh? As in...
Oh, man, Daryl told me a great joke last night. It was hilarious. It was something about a dog wearing sunglasses. I wish I could remember. It was a real tank slapper.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Bundling home and car insurance with Geico is so easy, your neighbors are probably already doing it. But who? Look for the signs. Do they have a home and or car? Are they saving lots of money? Do they seem unusually happy? Do they have a child named Geico?
Geico! Dinner time!
Have they recently purchased a drone? That's unrelated to the Geico thing. I just really like to try one. But if you notice these other things, you may want to ask them how easy it was to bundle with Geico. Bundling is easy with Geico. Just ask your neighbors.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with British accents. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, take it from a Brit.
Oi, balmy insurance blokes dodging dosh out your pocket. It's balmy. Liberty Mutual won't leave you skint, mate.
Can you just say Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I think that's what I said, you blooming...
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Daisy sheds like crazy. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she has dandruff and an oily coat.
DINOVITE.com. I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for Cats was coming out.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them.
Dynavite is a life changer.
Lately, she's been a lot more...
Miss us?
Come here, brother. Give me a hug. Bring it in for the real thing.
We're on call for you. Catch the podcast at HailVarsity.com, the ESPN Lincoln app, or download them on iTunes.
Saddle up, partner.
Back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One down a Monday, and we have Uniform Gate going on here. Will Wilson, Chris Schmidt, Hail Varsity Radio. That was an awesome rewind with Coach Bobby Bowden. Ron Brown with us, senior offensive analyst for Nebraska football. In the 4 o'clock hour, Mr. Blackshirt Charlie McBride got us kicked off at 5 o'clock. 466-3776, 466-3776, 800-825-5865. So what's going on is a public shoot that's not supposed to be revealed till, what, the 31st of August? Is that right?
I don't know. I thought, what? So there was supposed to be...
You've got a Nebraska football jersey shoot, okay?
Oh, it's a shoot.
It's a shoot.
I thought it was like a revealing party or something like that.
Well, fans are asked to use the honor system.
Okay.
Well, I guess with social media, there is always a name attached, whether it's a burner account or not. You will be tracked down and found if you put out the alternate uniform. I mean, what's it going to be? Red, black, white?
I don't understand why. I don't understand why they're telling people not to take photos. I'm so confused by this. Why would you hold it in a spot where people could see it if you didn't want people to post pictures about it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really get it. But I don't know. I'm hoping to see these uniforms. I think they're going to be cool.
Yeah, I don't... Where's the shoot at? I have no idea.
I have no clue.
Who cares? I could give two craps about the alternate uniforms. Legit.
Yeah.
Don't care. Don't care.
God,
Get off my yard!
You remember those... it was like one of the first years we were in the Big Ten and we played Wisconsin at home. It was just the old N and then the W.
It was the ugly uniform game. It all about turned into the ugly football game.
Yeah, thank God.
Those were awful. No, the black looks good.
Yeah.
They just don't ever win in them.
No.
Period. That started with UCLA. Okay, let's talk NFL for a little bit. And tomorrow, Will, what are you putting together tomorrow? I'm taking Junior to the Royals, assuming the Royals still get to play the Yankees because of Yankee COVID issues.
Yeah, is Cole back? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
No.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to go through the archives, Schmitty.
You just don't want to crush it 2 hours by yourself?
Well, I might. We'll
or
see
just
what happens.
Mix and match?
Yeah.
Just depends on how you're feeling.
I know.
Because you're only doing like 3 shows a day.
Yeah, well.
You're just the busiest man in Lincoln, man. Proud of you.
I appreciate you.
So, NFL. Are you betting on anybody but Kansas City or Tampa?
Well, this may be an embarrassing thing to admit, but I was up at Ameristar
really?
about a month ago.
That's good. We did Monday Night Footballs from the sports book up there.
Great sports book.
It's
good food and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And you really can bet on anything. And that's where I went wrong, Schmitty. I really liked what the Cardinals did in the offseason.
I like the Cardinals, too.
Right?
J.J. Watt.
Well, get this, man. Plus 4,600 to win the Super Bowl.
So you put down 100, you win 4,600?
I think that's what it is, but I put down 20. You know, I was early out of college. It was
20's all you can do.
Yep.
I appreciate your gambling budget.
Thank you. You get it. So I got that ticket going for me, and it was strictly value. I don't think they're going to win, but hell if they do, that's not bad.
No, that was really cool. So you have the NFL in their listing. And right now, it's Tampa, it's Kansas City, and I'd be down to see that rematch.
Oh, me too.
I would. Yep. I thought, it wasn't a good Super Bowl, but it was a phenomenal regular season game. Kansas City still is the favorite. You've got the Cheetah, you've got Kelsey, you've got Mahomes. Defensively, Kansas City's done well. with their defense. They may not shut anybody out, but they do a great job of always finding 2 or 3 pass rushers.
Yeah.
And this is the reality for the Chiefs. They need help on the offensive line. They went out and addressed their offensive tackle issues.
Right.
Tampa's brought everyone back, and they are a 15% chance to win the whole bleeping thing. Chiefs at 19%, Tampa at 15%. Buffalo Bills. How do you feel about the Bills?
Now it's shaky, man. Like, is this another Panthers team that goes to the Super Bowl and then is just bad after? Or
they never return to that form.
Exactly. Or is this a team that actually has something going for them? I think Josh Allen's a good quarterback.
I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think the guys love playing for him. They have upgraded their skill talent. They have been good defensively.
I see it. I think I'm more bought in than the Bills.
Are you buying more Buffalo or Cleveland as an alternative?
Ooh, that is rough because I really like
Cleveland's
what the Browns
fun.
did. Yes,
Cleveland's fun, but if push comes to shove, I'm trusting Allen more than I am Baker.
Good point.
Okay.
Good point. But all around pieces, I
Miles
really like
Garrett,
what the Browns did.
And
Yes.
of course Clowney now off the edge.
Yep.
I mean, Cleveland's for real. They got offensive talent. They've got Chubb at back.
Kareem Hunt is a solid backup.
Kareem's awesome. Kareem's your starter anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're coming off suspension, and 1,800 yards rushing. Let us just drop you in behind Chubb. And you love him or dislike him, you got Bill Callahan killing it with that offensive line group.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it comes down to Baker just kind of managing and then making a play from time to time. You know who could surprise us? It's Baltimore.
Yep. They're always there.
They've been right there. They've been 14-2 before, right? And then they got Tennessee.
Yep.
The old Nashville hit parade through that postseason. I love watching the Titans play too because they're just so good with play action, and then they find the tight end.
Are you surprised on how far down they are on those percentages we're looking at here? 3%, lowest on that list they gave us.
See, and I don't know what that is. Henry's not out of gas yet.
No.
There's still plenty of tread on his tire.
Right.
You got Julio there now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Julio's been injured, but Julio to me is the perfect complement for a great offensive line. Tannehill's a money play action quarterback, and you got Henry. So you've got Julio that can stretch the defense. The 49ers are at 2%. Green Bay at 2%. And then the Seahawks. I say this. I think Seattle's window has closed. Sorry, Carson Schmidt. I think the Rams, with their switcheroo at quarterback, can be nice.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't like their running back situation.
No, not now.
With what's his name?
Akers.
Yeah, with Cam Akers was awesome. Another really good Florida State back. With Cam Akers going Achilles, that's no good.
No.
So, and I think San Francisco, we've heard good things about the quarterback situation in San Fran.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything, but apparently Lance is playing good, Schmidt.
Yeah, Lance's money, and then you still got Jimmy G, and does he get shipped out? Death taxes and the Texans allegedly getting the first pick overall. That's the other, no-brainer. Next time Willie J, his glorious mullet and his old Big 8 hat, go back up to the boats, go back up to the sports book. If you see Willie J Tendon Bar, and you need him to do something for you legally, as far as a wager.
Thank you.
It might be worth stretching that 20 into 100 about the Texans securing the first pick. I think they have already.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, and Will Wilson at Willie on the radio, taking care of you tomorrow. I'm taking Junior to the Yankees and Royals tomorrow. Then I'll be back Wednesday, and we'll be rolling our sleeves up for a bunch of football. Next Tuesday, we'll be out at Cunningham's in Kearney on the lake. Little road show Tuesday. See our old buddy Doug Duda out on Central Nebraska's Superstation. I hope Duda's there. I mean, he owes me some mozzarella sticks. and maybe something frosty to drown that down with. But no, I love doing shows out in Kearney. Love seeing our affiliates out in central Nebraska. They're incredible, and I love all the listeners from Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island. But I love Cunningham's being out there, which is sweet. And I've not been to the one by the lake.
So you're going to have a day at the K tomorrow.
A little bit. I'm going to have a day at the ATM tomorrow.
Well,
because he's going to want barbecue. He is going to want Boulevard. Mm-hmm. Kidding, that's me.
I was going to say, the beers aren't cheap either.
No, but he's going to want, it never fails. And there's pictures dating back 1,000 years of him saying, "Daddy, get me that." Now he calls me another name and says, "I want that." So, but he loves the frozen strawberry chocolate on a stick.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's the $47,000 fruit on a stick that you buy at Major League Parks. I would hope that we're back to our roots and it's Helmet Sunday time tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah.
Which is good.
I love it.
I'm going to eat healthy tonight. Worked out really bad and hard yesterday, so I'm going to pace myself tomorrow. And it'll be a good roadie. We're going with Uncle Andy, Cousin Chandler, Don, the Royals guy, and then Papa Al is chauffeuring us. It's good to go hang out.
Oh, that's going to be a blast. I actually went to earlier in the season, Schmitty, I went to the best baseball game I've ever seen. It was a Royals game. They played the Tigers.
Okay.
Walk-off home run by Santana.
And there's nothing better than the juice you get from a crowd. And if Salvi's hitting one deep, if Santana. Now, Royals look a little different. It sucks that there's no more Duffy there.
Yeah. Well, and Soler, even though it wasn't really fun to watch this year.
No, but he's been a big bat for him for a while.
Right.
Meanwhile, Carson's just praying there's no more COVID tests for the Yankees. Because you got no more Cole. You got Rizzo that's out. Aaron Judge is who he wants to go see. That's his guy. And last time I got to take him to a Yankees game, he met Reggie Jackson.
Wow.
This was years ago. This was about the same time we talked to Coach Bowden, at least a year. But it was an interview out at the Coors Field.
Sure.
So
cool.
Reggie made the roadie and did that. So Junior's got a signed, one of those. It's like, "Dad, I need a new Yanks lid before we go on vacation." I'm like, "Whatever you want, son. Love you." So it was one of those cool gray and navy batting practice hats that run you like $50,
Sure.
So that has never been worn because it was signed on the bill by Reggie Jackson. But at least it's in his room. At least the dog didn't get it.
Thank God.
Right? We don't want a Sandlot reenactment of a signed baseball being chewed up and spat out.
Enjoy your time up there, man.
No, it'll be good. We'll be back late tomorrow night and be back on Wednesday afternoon. Get the podcast. Great stuff today on Nebraska football as the season nears. And remembering the legend Bobby Bowden. We heard from Bobby Bowden, the Rewind segment, Coach McBride, and, of course, Coach Ron Brown. Big thanks to Will Wilson, Chris Schmidt. Talk to you tomorrow at 4 on Hail Varsity, presented by the Nebraska Lottery.